Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to the Temple of Peace. Services here in Atlanta are held at 444.5 Edgewood Avenue. And to learn more of Mr. Elijah Muhammad and his rapidly growing Temple of Islam, you may visit on Wednesday.
The preacher of freedom, justice, and equality to the American so-called Negro, the lost found members of the great black nation of the Asiatic nation, and the original people of the planet Earth. These people, including myself as a member, has been lost in the Western Hemisphere for the last 400 years. But today they are found. They are no more term lost nor forsaken. For the God whom the prophets prophesied that would come in the last days, meaning the last days of the world that we now have known and experienced, would seek them out and restore them again, meaning uniting them again unto their own kind. This is the base of the coming of God, is to unite all that belongs to its kind back to its kind, especially the lost and found members of the Asiatic nation, namely the members of the tribe of Shabazz, whom they are now called the truth of themselves, nor have they known the truth of those who brought them here and subjected them to slavery. And they have not known the truth of God, nor the truth of the devil. Therefore, they're called in the Bible and Holy Quran a people that is blind, deaf, and dumb, a foolish people, a people that is rejected and despised of higher civilization. I would like that we continue our subject of last week. Do the white man want integration with the so-called American Negro? I say no. And you that is sane and sanely thinking will also agree with me that the white man actually does not want to integrate with his once slave. This integration in the eyes is an understanding of my people. They think that it means that they become equal sharers of benefits of the white man in the white man's government and in the white man's country. I have been preaching, and still preaching, that there is no possible chance of the so-called American Negro and the white man who once ruled over him and still rules over the so-called Negro, that this same so-called Negro was his father's slaves, servitude slaves for 300 years. And that this same slave today is still belonging to the children of that father that helped them in servitude slave and fed them off cheap food, clothed them with cheap clothing, and put them under cheap shelter. I would that you, my people, would remember these things that I'm preaching and has been preaching for many years. That the slave and the master is not equal. You cannot force the master to stoop to the level of his slave. This would disgrace the dignity of the master. This would get him laughter and mockery by his associates, by the international nations that he's dealing with, if he would bow to the level of his slave. Therefore, they has not did this thing, and they won't do this thing. They will not cheapen their reputation or their respect among the civilized nations of the earth to do no such thing as accepting their slave as their I would not do so myself if I were in their stead. But I would do justice by my slave. Pardon. If I had a slave that was as sincere to me and as dumb as the so-called American Negro to the white man, I would give him a chance to do something for himself. I would help him to do something for himself, not to deceive him under a false friendship or social equality among my own. I would not do that, as the Negro is now being deceived under a hypocritical integration that which the government has passed, but still we must remember that if the government passes a law that is not accepted by the majority of his people, can we say that we are safe under that law? No, because the law will not be obeyed by over half of the people. And therefore we would be victims of those who did not respect and obey that law. If a man is forced to do something that he don't want to do, then that man will never do that thing willingly because he's forced to do it. But if he do a thing willingly, from his heart, he's with this, then all right. Then we expect the man to do that thing perfect, and that thing which he likes to see done or would like to try doing it himself. There is not no white people by nature that actually want to accept the black man as their equal. They was not created in that nature. Almighty God Allah has taught me that the white man was created excuse me, to rule, and rule he has done for the last 6,000 years. And his very nature is against submitting to the rule of a black man. This he will not do. This is what will cause Armageddon or the Holy War. It is a disagreement between these ruling authorities, namely the white and black. This time arriving that the black man must rule. But the black man will never be able to rule over the white man's rule without war, and plenty of it. And in fact about it, the white man will never submit to the rule of the black man. He rather take death than to do so. We cannot expect that which is not by nature given to us. I repeat time again and again We cannot think hard of the white man for not accepting us as his equals in his society, nor giving us an equal chance. We, the Muslim, know better. We don't demand him to give us an equal chance in his house, because he's not going to do so. He feels that he is lowering his own character and respect of self and others to do so. So we don't ask for that. And we are hoping that our people will take the best way or path in doing something for themselves without lying at the white man's gate begging him to be equal or accept us to be equal with him in his own house that he has built. And we have nothing in the house, only the privilege of being servants in a house that belongs to another people. We cannot order and adjust his rules according to our wishes, because it's that man's house. This we must understand, and we must act according to. According to these acts of sane and sincere, thinking, minded people will erase a lot of today's troubles. I'm criticized by many of my people and some few whites for preaching separation of the races. But if we will think in the very creation of us on the planet Earth, we were separated according to our kind. As I went over this with you last week in the broadcast, that everything is after its kind. Honor like attracts, a like repels. That which is made by nature, it will be always repelling something that is not its kind or not its like. The white man is within the law of nature when he repels you and I from entering into his race as a member, or even in his society as a member, an equal member of his society, pardon me. But you and I may argue that we have a right under his law to do so. We don't have a right under his law because the lawmakers who inserted equal justice for all, they had not us in mind. At that time, they was not giving us equal justice and didn't follow it up at that time to do so. It referred to the lawmakers on people. And ever since, that law has been shining in the Constitution of America, you and I have been clamoring for our rights under that particular law. But we have never been able to enjoy no such thing as equal rights, equal justice under the law of America. Regardless of what court we go into, daily we see this thing wicked. In the very courts, the Negro just is not recognized under the law of justice of America to be the equal of the white citizen. No. He spends much money trying to secure equal justice. He spends much money trying to be recognized by his slave master's children as their equal. But he bought and maintained under any kind of sincere friendship if that sincere friendship is only hypocrite. A hypocrite can act other than himself as a sincere believer, a well-wisher, or doer for a while. But he gets impatient sometimes, and he will let go to you and I that he's not sincere and does not want your teachings or your life or your way of doing. Therefore, we discover then that we have a hypocrite. We must remember these things. It is a pity today to see my people clamoring, fighting, jumping in the fire for that which they have not even the knowledge of. In this house today, it is not only disgrace on the American white man for him to be disrespecting his slave as his equal, or even in his schools. If he offers the so-called American Negro a chance to build up a society of his own and school himself under teachers of his own, this is just no bad offer. If we have his same textbook taught to us that he's using them on his own kind, and if he give and finance you and I school to ourselves and will train teachers in some of these 50 states where they don't have to have the army to guard them while that they are going through attaining the course that they are there for, you and I should say thank you, Mr. White America, and to the American citizen, we thank you. Let us be over here in the school or college to ourselves and prepare us teachers and whatever college and universities that you so desire to give us some knowledge of your way of civilization or education, that we may be able to compete with you in a respected manner to self and to you as our teacher and as the honor and ruler of the land. This would look more educational, more sanely accessible on your part and my part in the American government. I'm not Uncle Tom by no means, by speaking in such terms to you who are ignorant enough to not understand what I am saying. No, I'm not Uncle Tom. I don't lick boots. No, unless it's my boots. But I don't want you to be Uncle Tom. I don't want you to act like puppies round the hunter after 100 years that you has been given freedom to do something for self. Now, acting as though that this is the only part of the world, only people on the earth, the only way to be educated here in America on the earth. I say you and I would act very foolish. And this is the part I'm referring to you, that I don't like about you. This foolish clamoring for that which by nature the white man has not been able to give you. He's altogether different from you, and you're different people from them by nature. You were created different. Why don't you understand? has been created to do. You must understand. I say this, that if you had two sets worth of understanding, there would not be no Mississippi war going on to keep you out of their university. One of the worst places throughout the South, I should say, is a very bad area for you and I to be respected as a human being. Not to think over an equal student in the colleges and universities of the white South, but to be respected as a human being there in the South, equal with another human being. That is why I say, you know and I know, I was born there, that you just don't get it. Why baptize yourself in fire? Why force this same people to try to respect you and to feed you with their education when they are throwing stones at you, shooting at you, beating you, spitting in your face, throwing you into jail cells, putting high fines on you to keep you out of their equal justice that they are enjoying, keep you out of their society, keep you as they and their fathers have always kept you, as a slave and under a status of free slavery today. Why will you accept a forced integration? I would not disgrace myself if a man said to me at the door, you can't come in here, don't watch in here. And you say, I say, I'm coming in anyway. I will get the law and force me in, because the law said that I could come in your house. The law would not even never know that you ever told me no such thing at the door. My intelligence and my self-respect will tell me to leave your door, because it's not my door. And if someone would come up and offer to escort me in there, force me in your house, and force you to give me a seat in your house, force you to serve me as you serve yourself equally, I would say to that person, no thank you. You have not changed his heart by forcing him to serve me and admit me into his house. You didn't change his heart. His heart is the same that it was when he told me he didn't want me into his house. I would stay outside and tell the officer, no, I thank you, because when you leave, this man will be the same and exercise the same brutality, treatment against me as he had begun before you arrived. So I say to you, officer, if you want to help me to get in a house, help me cross the street, cross the road, cross the state, somewhere in a state to myself, where that I can build up a society of my own, and where my own self cannot reject self, where I can admit whom I please in my house. This is the thing that we should ask white Americans to do for us. Give us a place to ourselves. Stop the bloodshed by doing the thing which is lawful and right under the divine law of the just God of the universe, and which he has planned and which he wants to do for you and I in America today. His coming to you and I, our visit among us, was with this very spirit and intention to separate. Because we too cannot get along in peace together. It has been tried throughout the ages. We have never been able and will never be able to get along in peace between two different races of people by nature. We would be be fools, and we are fools, to force our presence upon a slave master who has claimed that he has freed us and say, now, go for yourself. Now come back and tell him you're going to give me a place right on in your house, and then even recognize me as your equal in your house. I said, this is against the law, justice, and nature for you and I to demand. The God of heaven will not help us in no such way. This brother, white man of the Lord, trying to force his brother in the South to do that which he knows himself that would disgrace the whole entire nation throughout the world. Then the world today outside of America may say that America should allow her Negroes to enter in and out her universities and her schools. But this still don't make us equal with you. This don't give us nothing but a chance to be educated. Where is a home for us? We want some of this earth. We want the education to get earth. We want earth to build a home on and build a civilization of our own and be to ourselves as you has built government after government from the time of your civilization in Europe until this day. You have carried it throughout all the earth. We want nothing more or less than a place on this planet Earth that we can call our own and put a stop to the force and forcing respect of white people on us and trying to force them to give us equal privilege, equal membership in their society, or even to intermarry. We don't want no such thing. We want to be our own black self, and we want the white man to be his own white self, and let us have a chance in the earth to share on some part of it as all other races or nations that is on it to ourselves. Thank you for listening. And the same time, next week, on this same station, I will be again talking with you on religion and on the present civilization.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to the Temple of Peace